Hello and welcome to another edition of The Wrap Up, the Raptors Republic live post-game show that happens. That was me in another tab. That happens after every Raptors game here on YouTube and on Twitter and Twitch and all the good places. I'm Oren Weisfeld. I'm alone today. My co-host just left me in the dirt on a Saturday night to do this alone. I had lots of other plans I had to cancel in order to do this. So this is for the viewers. This is for the fans. No, but in all seriousness, kind of happy I stayed in because that was a unbelievable Raptors Heat game. The Raptors obviously lost 112-109 to the Miami Heat, but an amazing game. I guess you could call it amazing. It was certainly a game. So usually we tend to start these podcasts or video podcasts. Hello to our podcast listeners as well. I didn't forget about you. But yeah, usually we start these at the end and kind of talk about what happened in order to win or lose at the end, and then we work our way backwards. I'm going to start at the beginning because the Raptors came into the gate really flat tonight, and they came into Miami apparently at 4 a.m. last night after playing Brooklyn, losing to Brooklyn last night. And so it was a really flat start on the second night of a back-to-back. And that was like, I tweeted about it. Like, that was unacceptable. Like, if you're a team that wants to kind of take this jump towards contention and you want to say that, yeah, we have way more depth this season. We're a really deep team this season. All the stuff that everyone, including the Raptors, said at the beginning of preseason and camp, you just can't come out and do that first half and play like that. And I'm not saying you have to win every game. Many people pointed out that they're not going to win every game. They're not going to win every back-to-back. It's about giving effort and playing with some execution of the game plan and just like being smart and just like that's why we've grown to love the Raptors over this era, is because like every night they come and compete and they give a good effort and they give like a good entertaining game, and they just didn't do that in the first half, so it was a little upsetting. But, full credit to them because they came out of that third quarter. Fred takes his fifth foul right when the third quarter starts on a iffy play, on the Kyle Lowry three that, it was shaky. And they were visibly upset. Like, you could see the body language of the Raptors, especially after that foul and going down that much. They were visibly, like, not happy with how the game was going, and I thought there was a pretty good chance they were just gonna throw in the towel. The bench was gonna come in pretty quick, and it was just gonna be one of those nights. Instead, like, they showed a lot of just mental fortitude and just, like, sticking together in the second half that they played. And especially it really started when Christian Coloco and um, who was it? Gabe Vincent got into like, or was it Martin? Was it one of the Martin twins? Someone tell me who it was in the chat, please. When they got into it and they both got ejected, which I'll talk about more later in terms of the ejections, like that's when the Raptors really got sparked and went on this huge run. And it was also nice to see the Raptors just kind of like rally behind their rookie and Caleb Martin. Yes. Screw Caleb Martin. Because he's also the guy who pushed Scotty in the back last year, and almost injured Scotty. And this was just an unnecessary play to pick on a rookie. But anyways, the Raptors like really took that and used it to their advantage. It lit a fire in them, and they went on a huge run to end this game and made it like a 3-point game. Like, they legitimately had a chance to send this to overtime and win it. So look, I was critical on Twitter of the Raptors, the way they started this game, and I think it was fair to be. I don't think they can afford in this Eastern Conference to have starts like that, even on the second night of a back-to-back, even traveling. Like, you just can't afford it in this league. However, like, I'm really encouraged ultimately by the way that the game ended, and I'm going to talk about some reasons why. So, by the way, for our YouTube viewers, like, I will highlight comments. I'm trying to produce this and talk at the same time, but I'll highlight comments best I can. I'll answer questions best I can. So definitely do that. This is the box score. I hope you can see it. Let's talk about like I guess the biggest reason I think to be encouraged is because if the Raptors ever figure out their defense, which they've shown spurts of, definitely in the fourth quarter, even the third quarter, like the second half of this game. Last night, they did it in the last 5 minutes against Brooklyn. They really locked in on defense, looked great. Same with against Cleveland. It was the last 5 minutes that the defense locked in. However, otherwise, the defense just hasn't been very good this season. Too many breakdowns, bad screen navigations, bad transition defense, bad defensive rebounding at times. And the rotations just aren't quick enough. So the defensive part hasn't been figured out yet. However, we know with the players on this team and the coach that Nick is, like, they're gonna eventually get towards that top 10 defense. I think the big question with everyone going into this season was the offense, right? And that's why I think we have to be encouraged, is because this is a good Miami Heat defense, right? That was a good Cleveland Cavaliers defense. And what we've seen so far through 3 games is Siakam really looks like a superstar on offense, to the point where in this game, all night, the Raptors were generating good looks off really simple actions, whether it was a Siakam post up into a double, and then Siakam would just pass it to a guy on the perimeter for an open three, or it was the Siakam Fred VanVleet ghost screen, which would lead either to Siakam having a lane to the rim or a VanVleet three, or the next pass ahead being an open three. Either way, the Heat just did not know how to guard Siakam in single coverage. Even though it wasn't Siakam's best shooting night, they didn't feel comfortable doing it in single coverage. And as soon as the help shaded towards Siakam, it was just bam, bam, bam. Like, not only was Siakam making the right read, his teammates were making that extra pass as well to get like really, really clean, mostly 3-point looks, but like really clean looks. And Gary saw a few of them rim out. Precious saw a few of them rim out. But I'm really encouraged by the offense and the way it looks because of how Pascal looks, and credit the team, the players, and the coaches for how much they're just running through him. Because it takes a lot for a Fred VanVleet to be like, okay, I'm okay being off ball. And he's shown that he's willing to do that this season. And to a lesser extent, same with some of the other guys. So yeah, like, I'm really encouraged by again, the offense. And yeah, okay. Again, here's the box score. Siakam finished the game with 23, 8, and 9. OG and Gary again didn't have great games. I know Gary had 23 points, but those were just really wide open looks created mostly by Siakam. And he had some silly defensive plays in this one, just not good enough from OG and Gary, offensively for OG and defensively for Gary. However, the other reason I think we should be encouraged with this game is just the bench. Like, again, I was getting hate on that tweet. I'm gonna pull up my own tweet shamelessly because I just want to show people like how much hate it was getting. Um, I got ratioed, I guess this is what the kids are saying. 30 comments of people being like, how can you, mostly the comments were like, how can you hate on the depth when Boucher and Otto Porter are both sitting with injuries, right? And the other comments were, well, the Raptors have never had scoring off the bench, so why are you acting like it's going to be different? First of all, I didn't say scoring, I said good depth. And second of all, when it comes to like injuries on the bench, you're never going to have 15 healthy players. Guys have to step up. That's what deep teams do. Like, they have a system and guys can step into that system, and it's a next man up mentality. When the Raptors have had deep teams, that's how it's been. You're never going to have all your bench guys healthy at the same time. That's the reality of the league. So like, I was just and scoring, I also think that's a disingenuous argument to be like, oh, the Raptors don't have any scoring off the bench. Why are you acting like it's different this year? Like, you're right. The Raptors aren't built to have a bench that's full of scorers. However, their starting five are full of good scorers, and they substitute them, and they like spread them apart. What's the word I'm looking for? Um they stagger their minutes with that in mind, with the fact that the starting five are the main scorers in mind. This isn't a team that brings a bench mob of 5 guys in. So I'm not asking for scoring off the bench. I'm asking for solid play off the bench. And we really saw bad play off the bench in the Brooklyn loss. However, like tonight, I was really encouraged. Let's talk about Precious Achiuwa first of all. Let's talk about Precious. He finished with 18, including 2 made threes, 11 rebounds, and, like, the defense that we've been known from him, but he's I honestly think that was one of the best games of Precious's career. Like, after 2 terrible games to start the season, the way he did it, the way he scored in particular is different than what we've seen from him last year when it was just he was a play finisher. In this case, he created a lot of the advantages himself, just like end of shot clock, using his strength to get into the paint, and then a couple like floater type shots. And then this one in transition that I'll pull up was something he's been doing in preseason, but like the grab and go stuff that he just seems so much more comfortable, first of all, putting the ball on the floor and like dribbling in transition, and B, finishing, which we know he's not a great at rim finisher for most of his career, but it's slowly improving. Here he finishes through Hero's contact and he gives him the too small that Hero gave to him earlier in the game. Uh, but yeah, let's see it again. Like again, he's been doing these Euro steps at full speed in transition and then finishing. So it's really good to see Precious just finally bounce back and have the first good season game of his career. I thought Thad Young played well in the second half as well, and then Malachi Flynn played well when he got his minutes because Banton wasn't very good. He shot 2 for 4 from 3, so it's really good to see Malachi back. Even Koloko, who I guess might as well talk about this now as well. This silly play. Koloko was, he's a rookie and it wasn't again his best game, but the fact that he can even give them minutes at this point in his career is pretty encouraging. Now, I just want to talk about this play because it's bullshit. Like, oh, I swore, and they're gonna get mad at me. It's okay. Like in the NBA now, as soon as there's any skirmish, the refs feel like they need to throw everyone involved in the skirmish out, which all stems from like the Malice in the Palace and like cleaning up the image of the NBA like bullshit again. But this is like if there's one instigator and the other person isn't an instigator, how can you treat them equally? Like what kind of message does that send? Treating the instigator equally as a rookie? Like I get that Koloko had some contact here, but literally he's holding on to him so that because he's getting tackled to the ground. Like if he doesn't hold on to him, then he's just putting himself in a more unsafe position. And again, if there aren't seats here to cushion Koloko's fall, this could be a really dangerous play. You can't tackle a man on the hardwood. Like that's a really dangerous play. You can hit your head. So I think Caleb Martin should have just gotten thrown out. Maybe Koloko hit him with 1 technical, but not 2. And honestly, Martin should probably like get suspended for this play because he's the instigator and it's an unsafe play. So that's about all I have to say about that. I thought the refereeing in this game, again, not going to get too into it, but how do I say this? Just like I guess the whistle all night was just very soft. Like and really both ways. Like look, these teams combined for let me check this out right now. We'll go to team stats. They combined for 28 and 27 free throws. So someone who's good at math, that's a good 55 free throws in a game. And I just felt like the whistle was a little too light tonight and it was just blowing at will. Um, and maybe that's how something like that no, I guess not. I guess that's a separate thing. I just think they messed up on that one, and, Martin should have been tossed and probably not Koloko, but again, what else do we wanna talk about? Let me just look at my notes real quick. Mm. Some dead air. That's what they say to do on solo pods. Just have dead air. No, I'll take some listener questions if we have any. But yeah, I mean, I'll look for listener questions in the meantime, though. I guess just maybe it's becoming a bit of a not a pattern yet, but Pascal is really doing everything he can, and I think we all thought this year would be different in terms of it would be more of a team effort and guys would really step up one night this guy, one night the next guy and help Pascal to just get these wins. And it hasn't happened. Like, OG and Gary have been largely disappointing, I think, these last 2 games. Just OG, I've been pretty disappointed as someone who, like, really hyped him up this offseason. But when he's been putting on the ball on the floor, he just does not look comfortable. He looked really good in the Cavs game. Last 2 games, though, when he puts the ball on the floor, he just looks overwhelmed at the attention he gets, really. And then, yeah, like, he's not comfortable putting the ball on the floor and driving to the rim and stopping and then assessing his options the game. I don't know if it's moving too fast for him, but yeah, he's had a lot of turnovers, even like a couple travels this year. Because I guess he just the ball finds him and he just is like flabbergasted. And then with Gary, it's a bad shot selection at times, like where he maybe hasn't had the ball for a little while and he just jacks up a bad long three or like a contested mid-range jumper. And defensively, too many mistakes for Gary for the fact that he's had a year plus now to learn this defense. But towards the end of the game, they definitely got the formula right where the ball was in Pascal's hands and they were just running Pascal actions or Fred Pascal actions, and then Gary or OG were just in positions to finish plays. That's what they have to do if they really want, at the end of games when they really want to win. Here's an example of that. Like, this is the ghost screen I referenced earlier, where Fred is kind of pretending to set a screen here, but really he just flares out. They don't read it quick enough, so they double Siakam, and then it's just a swing to Gary for the open three. I'm not sure what the second play is, but we can see it right here. Probably, yeah. Oh, they did it against Cleveland, the exact same thing. Okay. Shout out to Emmett for that one. All right. That's enough film review for me. I'm almost at 20 minutes, which I told myself if I get there alone, like I'm a hero. So that's really I have pretty low standards for myself. I haven't seen questions in the chat. However, like it's hard to find the question marks as I talk. How do you feel about all these tough games to start the season? It's probably for the best for the Raptors to get a string of tough games. Um, just because you're gonna learn more about yourself against good teams. Like I said with the offense, I think they learned a lot about how they can play through Siakam, even against a good defense, and have really good results. And that's good. The only thing is, like I said about the beginning of the game, you can't take halves off against good teams in this Eastern Conference. They took quarters off against the Nets also last night, and it burned them. So now they're 1-2 because they just haven't been able to string together 48 minutes. I know that's like an easy answer, but if the Raptors were able to string together anywhere near 48 minutes of the way they've looked to close games these last 3 games, they would be 3-0 right now. Like, the only reason these games have been close is because they've taken large segments off and just not competed hard enough, or the bench has been really bad in some cases. And yeah, so I think in general it's good. Has Malachi earned more minutes? Yeah, like there was no reason ever to freak out about Malachi. He got injured. You're not going to throw an injured guy in without any rhythm right in the first game of the season or anything. Delano kind of earned those first minutes, but Malachi was always going to get his chance in a game like this where Banton just wasn't really affecting the offense. And yeah, I think he earned a few more minutes. Again, like those two are both going to get more opportunities, and it's going to be matchup dependent. It's going to depend on who plays well and stuff like that. But like, yeah, Malachi, he shot the ball well, which is really what they want from him, is to finish those plays and just be solid defensively. And he did both of those things tonight. Heat bench suspension, I'm really not sure if I don't care, honestly. Even if they do, it's going to be like the 12th and 15th man. It's not like Jimmy came off the bench or anything. So why do we as Raptors fans really care what happens to the Heat bench? Our starting five needs that intensity from the start. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's fair. Or I think it's also like if you look at the numbers, they've been good through 2 games, the starting fives, but the bench has not had the intensity at different moments. So it's on the whole team to just have intensity throughout the game. Because obviously when things it's nut crunching time, the Raptors have shown that they can be really intense and really aggressive and really good, but at other times, they've just shown that they can be really bad. Like, the first half of the game was about as bad as I've seen the Raptors since Tampa Bay, like, for sure. That's how bad they were. So, we just can't have that. But yeah, let's see. Any other comments? We do like don't get me wrong, it would be nice to have Boucher and, Otto Porter back and see this full team, um, to the point will depth be an issue? Like, it'd be nice to have those guys back, but again, you're always gonna have a nick here and a knack there. Like, Scotty is injured, and he might not be back next game, and that just stuff just happens in the NBA. Guys miss a couple games here and there. Um, but I really think it's too early to tell if depth will be an issue this year. Like, I don't like the argument that I've seen on Twitter that the Raptors bench through 2 or 3 games is last in the league in scoring. Like, I already explained how they're gonna be low in scoring because the starters do the scoring for this team. That's how the roster is constructed. Would it be nice to have guys finish more plays like Precious did today and Flynn did today? Yeah, of course. But like that they're never gonna be a top 10 scoring bench because that's just not how it is. However, they could be a top 10 net rating bench, which is really the goal. If they play good defense, if they take care of the ball and don't turn it over, if they're good in transition, all those things. So it's too early for me to tell. I believe in Thad Young. I think he's a really good connective player. Chris Boucher is a really good player. Um, I think between Delano and Malachi, that's still a question if those guys can give you enough backup point guard minutes that you really trust. But if not, you can solve that at the deadline. Like there are backup point guards in the league. But yeah, Thad, Otto Porter, Boucher, um, who am I forgetting here? Precious, who again, if he's gonna play like he did today, that's a huge thing to have off the bench as your sixth man. If Precious is gonna do that consistently, like it's not gonna be every night. We know this, but if he's gonna do this pretty consistently, the Raptors that's good depth right there. So it's too early to tell about the depth. I understand why people are a little worried about it, but let's give it like a 10 game sample size before we start freaking out about it. Why so much freaking threes? Because that's what the Heat's defense was giving up. Like when you hear guys say, I took what the defense gave us after the game, this is what they meant. Like the Heat's defense was surrendering wide open threes, and the Raptors should take those every single time. They could have legit won this game if Gary and Precious like knocked a few more of those open threes down. Unfortunately, it didn't go that way. But you got to take open threes if that's what the defense is giving you. And again, like Pascal was really just dishing and creating those, and that's really the best shot in basketball is an open three. Like I understand throughout the course of the game you want to get to the rim and all these things, but if it if you man, I'm getting tired. You want to get to the rim. But yeah, if you don't have to, and if you're already seeing so much help just a couple steps towards the paint like Pascal was tonight, then and you can find guys for threes off of that, then like you don't need to get to force the issue getting to the rim if the defense is going to play you like that. So I'm really not upset about that. Any word on Scotty's injury? Only that like they said on the broadcast that they did an X-ray at the game and it was negative. But it looks like I guess an ankle sprain, right? So those can last long even if there's no breakage or anything there. We will see. I have no information. Um, all right. Scotty's been really good to start the season. Really happy with him. Way more locked in defensively than we saw last season. And I mean, the play where he got injured. Let me see if I can pull this up. He jumped over Tyler Hero. Like I don't know if people noticed this, but he literally did what's it called? A Vince Carter in the Olympics, if people remember that, where he jumped over like that 7 foot. I don't know if that guy was like French or something. But Scotty jumped over Tyler Hero in this play where he got injured. And oof, Okay, I gotta find this for the viewers, man. I gotta find this for the viewers. Maybe not, guys. I'm sorry to do this to you. Anyone have a video? All right. Can't find it. Anyways, that was a ridiculous play that he got injured on. The fact that he just like took the guy off the dribble, there was 3 seconds off on the shot clock, somehow got all the way to the rim, um, and jumped over Tyler Hero, who fouled him, and finished and shot the free throw. Like that was remarkable. But anyways, I think Scotty's been really good to start this season. I've been happy with him. But really, look, the story to start this season has been Pascal Siakam. He didn't even have a good shooting night tonight. And if you look at the box score, you're not going to be impressed. But all of the Heat's attention and eyes were towards him all game. And the Raptors didn't have to do anything special to get like amazing offensive looks all game because that much attention was on Siakam and he's become such a good passer. And guys know how to play off him now so well that the Raptors just have a simple, good offense. Just based off Siakam's attention. And yeah, teams are going to adjust and we'll see how Siakam adjusts to those adjustments. But that's the biggest takeaway this season. That was the biggest takeaway this game. So again, thanks so much for tuning in to me alone and my ugly face. I appreciate it. We will be back on Monday with not just myself. I think all 4 of the wrap up boys are going to be here Monday. So you have to tune into that one. It's going to be crazy. Things are going to, there might be some fights. It might be unreal. There might be some kissing. We don't know. But that's also going to be the second Heat game. So that's also going to be a good game. I expect it to be more defensive oriented one. How many more injuries? Over under on 2? I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, it's going to be one of those ones. So tune in Monday. We will be here on YouTube. Always like and subscribe. Raptors Republic YouTube channel. Subscribe to Raptors Republic website where you can get great editorial content. And yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. See you.